A dream earned.
Malik Carter had always been a man of quiet ambition. Growing up in a small apartment in Memphis, Tennessee, he'd spent his childhood watching his mother work 2 jobs to keep the lights on. Her resilience was his blueprint, and by his mid-30s, Malik had carved out a life of his own. After years of grinding as a mechanic, then transitioning to a logistics manager at a distribution center in Raleigh, North Carolina, he'd saved enough to buy a modest but proud home in a suburban neighborhood called Willow Creek. The house wasn't lavish, a single-story ranch with a tidy lawn and a back patio, but it had one feature that made Malik's heart sing: enough space for a hot tub. The hot tub wasn't just a luxury, it was a symbol. For Malik, it represented years of overtime, skipped vacations, and careful budgeting. He'd installed it himself, a sleek, 4-person model with cedar paneling and soft LED lights, nestled under a pergola he'd built with his own hands. Every evening, after a long shift coordinating shipments, Malik would sink into the warm, bubbling water, let the jets melt away the day's stress, and feel like he'd made it. The neighborhood was quiet, mostly young families and retirees who kept to themselves.
Malik liked it that way.
A wave here, a nod there, boundaries respected, peace maintained. That peace, however, was tested when Vanessa Pritchard moved in next door. Vanessa was in her late 50s, a former event planner with a penchant for loud phone calls and an air of self-assured entitlement.
Her house, a mirror image of Malik's, sat just beyond a low wooden fence that separated their backyards. From the moment she arrived, Vanessa made her presence known. She'd lean over the fence, her auburn curls bouncing, and comment on Malik's yard work: "Those roses could use more pruning, hon, or you ever think about a fountain? Hot tubs are so last season." Malik would smile politely, keeping his responses short. He wasn't here to make enemies, but he wasn't looking for a best friend either. It started small.
One morning, Malik noticed a pair of flip-flops abandoned near his patio. Another day, he found a plastic wine glass floating in the hot tub, its rim smudged with coral lipstick. He brushed it off, maybe kids, maybe a mistake. But then he came home early one Friday and heard voices. Laughter, splashing, the hum of his hot tub's jets. He stepped onto the patio and froze. There was Vanessa, lounging in his hot tub with 2 women he didn't recognize, their beach bags strewn across his deck chairs.
"Hey, Malik!" Vanessa called out, raising a glass like she was toasting a host. "This thing is divine. You don't mind, do you?"
"I figured it was just sitting here."
Malik's jaw tightened. He set his keys down deliberately. "Actually, I do mind. This is my property. You didn't ask." Vanessa's smile didn't falter. "Oh, come on, we're neighbors. What's a little dip between friends?
I told Gina and Marla here how nice your setup is."
"We're not hurting anything." Malik crossed his arms. "Get out. Now." The women exchanged glances, their laughter fading. Vanessa sighed dramatically, as if Malik were the one being unreasonable. "Fine, fine. No need to get testy."
They climbed out, dripping water across his deck, and sauntered back to Vanessa's yard, leaving wet towels behind.
Malik stood there, heart pounding, not with anger but with disbelief.
He'd worked too hard for this, his home, his sanctuary, to let it be treated like a public pool. That night, he drained the hot tub, scrubbed it down, and reset the water. He figured the message was clear.
But Vanessa wasn't the type to take a hint.
Over the next week, Malik noticed signs of her presence: a damp footprint on the patio, a stray hair tie near the tub, a faint scent of lavender body wash lingering in the air. He installed a lock on the gate, but one evening, he caught Vanessa climbing over the fence, her sundress catching on a splinter as she landed with a huff. "Vanessa," Malik said, stepping outside, his voice firm but calm.
"This stops now.
You're trespassing."
She brushed off her dress, unfazed. "Malik, relax. I was just checking the water. It looked a little cloudy."
"You should thank me, I know a guy who does pool maintenance."
"This isn't a negotiation," Malik said. "Stay out of my yard."
Vanessa pursed her lips, her eyes narrowing. "You know, in my old neighborhood, we shared everything."
"That's what community is. You might want to learn that."
She turned and flounced back to her side of the fence, leaving Malik staring at the empty tub, his sanctuary violated again.
Escalation and evidence. Malik wasn't one to overreact.
He'd dealt with tough bosses, long hours, and the occasional microaggression at work with the same steady patience.
But this was different. This was his home. He decided to document everything.
He installed a small security camera, discreetly mounted under the pergola, and started checking the footage daily.
Sure enough, Vanessa didn't stop.
She was clever about it, sneaking over when she thought Malik was at work, sometimes alone, sometimes with a friend or two. The camera caught her slipping over the fence, turning on the jets, and lounging like she owned the place.
Malik took his evidence to the local police, hoping for a trespassing notice.
The officer, a tired-looking man named Jenkins, watched the footage and shrugged.
No forced entry, no damage.
It's a civil matter, Mr. Carter. Put up a no trespassing sign, and we can do more if she keeps it up.
So Malik did.
He ordered a bold, black and white sign, bolted it to the fence, and added a second lock to the gate.
He thought that would be enough. But Vanessa's entitlement ran deeper than locks.
She started leaving notes taped to his mailbox. Your hot tub pump sounds loud, might want to check it, or saw some leaves in your yard.
Happy to help clean up.
Each note was a jab, a way to assert her presence without directly admitting her trespassing.
Then came the breaking point.
Malik came home one Saturday to find a stranger, a lanky guy in his 20s, dripping wet and wrapped in one of Malik's towels, strolling out of his backyard.
Yo, you Malik, the guy said, grinning. Vanessa said you're cool with me using the tub. Said you're never home anyway. Malik's hands clenched. She said wrong. Get off my property.
The guy raised his hands, still smiling.
Chill, man. No harm done.
He left, but the damage was done. Malik sat in his living room, staring at the hot tub through the sliding glass door.
This wasn't about water or jets. It was about respect, or the lack of it. Vanessa didn't see him as an equal, she saw his property as hers to claim. He wasn't going to let that stand.
That night, Malik called his sister, Aisha, a paralegal with a knack for creative solutions. I need something legal, nonviolent, and unforgettable, he told her. Something that'll make her think twice.
Aisha laughed. You want to teach her a lesson without losing your cool. I got you.
She suggested a plan, one that would require patience, precision, and a touch of flair.
Malik listened, nodding slowly. It was bold, but it could work. The plan takes shape. Malik spent the next few days researching.
Aisha had pointed him to a specialty pool supply site that sold a non-toxic, heat-activated dye, colorless in water but turning vibrant indigo when exposed to body heat. It was safe, temporary, and impossible to ignore. Malik ordered 3 bottles, express shipping, and read the instructions carefully, mix thoroughly, wait 12 hours, and ensure the water circulates. He also upgraded his security system, adding a second camera and a motion-activated spotlight aimed at the gate. If Vanessa was going to keep crossing boundaries, she'd do it in the spotlight, literally.
He didn't tell anyone except Aisha.
Not his co-workers, not his neighbors, not even his best friend, Jamal, who'd have laughed himself silly at the idea. Malik wanted the plan to unfold naturally, without fanfare. He drained the hot tub, refilled it, and poured in the dye, stirring it with a pool skimmer under the cover of night. The water looked pristine, no hint of what was coming. For a week, nothing happened.
Malik started to wonder if Vanessa had finally backed off.
But on a sunny Sunday afternoon, his phone buzzed with a motion alert. He opened the camera app and saw her, Vanessa, in a floral swimsuit, leading 2 friends into his yard. They carried wine glasses and a portable speaker, giggling like they were at a resort.
Malik didn't move.
He watched as they slipped into the tub, turned on the jets, and settled in. 30 seconds later, the first scream. What is this? One of the women yelped, holding up her arms, now streaked with bright indigo. Vanessa gasped, scrambling to her feet, her legs and torso blooming with color.
Oh my God, what's in the water?
The third woman was already out, frantically wiping her skin, but the dye only spread further. Malik stepped onto the patio, phone in hand, recording the chaos. "I told you to stay out," he said, his voice steady. "That's a non-toxic dye. Washes off in a few hours. Maybe next time you'll ask first." Vanessa's face was a mix of fury and humiliation, her skin a patchwork of purple. "This is assault," she shrieked, wrapping a towel around herself, which only smeared the dye further. "No," Malik said, pointing to the no trespassing sign. "This is you ignoring my property rights. Smile, you're on camera." The women fled, leaving behind a trail of purple footprints and a toppled wine glass. Malik didn't laugh. He felt a quiet satisfaction, not in their embarrassment, but in knowing he'd finally drawn a line they couldn't ignore. The fallout and the fight. By Monday morning, Willow Creek was buzzing. Malik's neighbor across the street, Mrs. Rosa, a retired librarian with a knack for gossip, had seen the purple-streaked women fleeing his backyard. She texted her book club, and by noon, the neighborhood's online forum was alight with speculation. "Anyone know why Vanessa and her friends looked like they'd bathed in grape juice?" one post read. Malik stayed out of it. He didn't need to fuel the fire, the truth was doing that for him. Vanessa, however, wasn't one to fade quietly. She showed up at Malik's door that evening, her face scrubbed red but still faintly purple. She held a manila folder, her hands trembling with barely contained rage. "You think you're clever," she snapped, shoving the folder at him. "This is a formal complaint to the HOA. Hazardous chemicals, public endangerment, I'm taking you to court." Malik took the folder but didn't open it. "Non-toxic, FDA-approved dye. I've got receipts. And I've got video of you trespassing, Vanessa. Multiple times. You want to talk about court? Go ahead." Her eyes widened, but she didn't back down. "You're recording me? That's an invasion of privacy." "You're on my property," Malik said, pointing to the camera above his door. "You don't get privacy when you're breaking the law." Vanessa stormed off, muttering about lawyers. Malik knew she wasn't done. People like her didn't admit fault, they doubled down. He called Aisha that night, updating her on the confrontation. "She's bluffing," Aisha said. "No lawyers taking a case about a trespasser getting dyed purple. But keep your footage safe. She might try something sneaky." Malik backed up the videos to a cloud drive and a USB stick, which he stored in a lockbox. He wasn't worried about a lawsuit, he had the law on his side, but he didn't trust Vanessa to play fair. Sure enough, the next day, he noticed her talking to other neighbors, gesturing wildly toward his house. By Wednesday, a man from the HOA, Mr. Harold Tate, knocked on his door. Harold was in his 70s, with a clipboard and a weary expression, like he'd rather be golfing. "Mr. Carter," Harold began, "we've had a complaint about your hot tub." "Something about unsafe chemicals?" Malik invited him in, opened his laptop, and played the footage, Vanessa climbing the fence, inviting guests, ignoring the no trespassing sign. Harold watched, his eyebrows climbing higher with each clip. "She's been doing this for months," Malik said. "I warned her. She didn't listen. The dye was a last resort." Harold rubbed his temples. "I'll file my report, but between you and me, she's got no case. Just, maybe no more dye, alright?" Malik nodded, but he wasn't done protecting his space. He ordered a motion-activated sprinkler system, the kind used to deter deer, and installed it near the fence. He also added a coded keypad to the gate, ensuring no one could pick the lock. Vanessa's next move came in the form of a letter, slipped under his door. "This isn't over. You've made an enemy, Malik." No signature, but the tone was unmistakable. Malik didn't flinch. He'd dealt with worse bosses who overlooked him for promotions, clients who questioned his expertise. This was just another challenge, and he was ready. He called Jamal, his best friend since high school, who owned a landscaping business and had a knack for thinking outside the box. "I need something that'll keep her out for good," Malik said. "No more dye, but something that hits her pride." Jamal grinned over the phone. "Oh, we're going full petty but legal? I'm in."
A community awakens. Malik and Jamal brainstormed over burgers at Malik's kitchen table. The goal wasn't revenge, it was deterrence. Vanessa thrived on attention, on being the center of the neighborhood's social scene.
They needed to shift the dynamic, make her actions visible to everyone without Malik saying a word.
Jamal's idea was simple but brilliant, a community board.
Not online, where Vanessa could spin her narrative, but a physical bulletin board in Malik's front yard, right by the mailbox where everyone walked past. They'd posted neighborhood watching notice, with stills from the security footage, blurred faces for privacy, but clearly showing someone climbing the fence and using the hot tub. Below it, a polite message: please respect private property.
Trespassing is not neighborly.
Malik built the board himself, a sturdy wooden frame with a weatherproof cover. He printed the notice on bright yellow paper, the images pixelated just enough to avoid legal trouble but clear enough to make the point.
He didn't name Vanessa, but the message was unmistakable.
By Friday, the board was up, and neighbors started noticing.
Mrs. Rosa stopped by, chuckling. About time someone called her out.
She tried to borrow my pressure washer last week, without asking.
Other neighbors chimed in.
Mr. Patel, who lives 2 houses down, admitted Vanessa had borrowed his grill for a barbecue without permission. A young couple, the Garcias, mentioned her leaving empty wine bottles in their recycling bin.
Malik realized Vanessa's entitlement wasn't just his problem, it was a pattern.
The board became a quiet rallying point, a way for the neighborhood to reclaim their boundaries without confrontation.
Vanessa's response was predictable.
She tore down the notice, but Malik had expected that. He'd printed extras and installed a second camera aimed at the board. When the footage showed her ripping it up, he posted a new notice with a QR code linking to a private website he'd set up. The site had the footage, anonymized, and a timeline of the trespassing incidents.
He didn't need to name her, everyone knew. The neighborhood's reaction was swift. People stopped inviting Vanessa to book clubs or barbecues.
Her loud phone calls went unanswered. She tried to spin it, claiming Malik was hostile and unneighborly, but the footage spoke louder than her complaints.
Malik didn't gloat. He didn't need to.
The community was waking up, and Vanessa's influence was shrinking. The twist unfolds.
Malik's hot tub was quiet for 2 weeks.
No footprints, no wine glasses, no Vanessa. He started to relax, soaking in the tub again, the warm water a reminder of what he'd fought for.
But he knew Vanessa wasn't done. People like her didn't let go of their pride easily.
On a quiet Sunday, his phone buzzed with a motion alert. He opened the app and saw Vanessa, alone this time, creeping over the fence with a flashlight. She was cautious, checking for cameras, but she didn't see the new one hidden in a fake birdhouse. Malik watched as she approached the hot tub, dipped her hand in, and hesitated.
She didn't get in.
Instead, she pulled out a small bottle and poured something into the water before hurrying back to her yard.
Malik's heart sank. Was she trying to sabotage the tub?
He grabbed a water testing kit and checked the pH, normal. No strange odors, no discoloration. Whatever she'd added was subtle.
He called Aisha, who suggested collecting a sample and sending it to a lab. She's escalating, Aisha said. But you've got her on camera. Stay one step ahead.
The lab results came back a week later, sugar syrup, harmless but enough to clog the tub's filters over time.
It was petty, calculated, and exactly Vanessa's style.
Malik could have confronted her, but he had a better idea. He'd let her think she'd won, then turn her sabotage into a lesson. He cleaned the tub, replaced the filters, and reset the dye, this time with a twist. He added a second compound, a safe, heat-activated scent that smelled like rotten eggs but faded after an hour. He also posted a new notice on the community board: hot tub maintenance scheduled.
Please respect private property. It was a warning, but Vanessa wouldn't see it that way. Sure enough, the next weekend, she was back, this time with a new friend.
They climbed the fence, turned on the jets, and settled in, smug as ever. Within minutes, the dye kicked in, turning their skin indigo.
Then the smell hit. What is that? Vanessa's friend gagged, scrambling out.
Vanessa followed, coughing and cursing, her purple skin glowing under the spotlight.
Malik stepped outside, phone recording.
"Told you to stay out," he said.
"That's a sulfur-based scent. Non-toxic, but it'll linger on you for a bit. Maybe next time, respect the sign."
Vanessa's face was a mask of fury, but she had no words. Her friend was already halfway down the street, yelling about needing a shower. Malik saved the footage, sent it to Harold at the HOA, and added it to the website. The neighborhood watched, and Vanessa's reputation crumbled further. She'd crossed a line, and now she was paying the price, not with lawsuits or violence, but with the truth.
The ripple effect. The fallout from Vanessa's latest purple and sulfur-soaked misadventure spread faster than Malik expected.
The neighborhood's online forum exploded with comments, most supporting Malik's right to protect his property. Mrs. Rosa started a petition for clearer HOA rules on boundaries, and Mr. Patel offered to host a community meeting to discuss neighborly respect. Malik didn't attend, he wasn't one for meetings, but he appreciated the shift.
Willow Creek was starting to feel like a community that valued fairness over entitlement. Vanessa, meanwhile, doubled down.
She filed another HOA complaint, this time claiming Malik's cameras were spying on her backyard. She even tried to rally neighbors, knocking on doors with a sob story about being targeted by a hostile neighbor. But the footage Malik had shared, carefully edited to blur faces but show her trespassing, made her claims ring hollow. Most neighbors, tired of her antics, gave her polite nods and closed their doors.
Malik kept his routine: work, home, hot tub.
He'd upgraded the tub's security again, adding a motion-activated alarm that emitted a soft chime inside his house. He also replaced the dye with a new batch, just in case, but he hoped he wouldn't need it.
The sulfur scent had been a masterstroke, suggested by Jamal after a late-night brainstorming session.
"Hit her where it hurts, her pride," Jamal had said. "Nothing says stay out like smelling like a bad egg in front of your friends." A week later, Malik got a call from Harold at the HOA. "Vanessa's pushing for a hearing," Harold said, sounding exhausted.
"She's got a lawyer now. Says you're creating a hostile environment. I need you to come in and present your side." Malik agreed, though he wasn't thrilled.
He spent the evening with Aisha, preparing a folder of evidence, timestamps, footage, receipts for the dye and security upgrades, even the lab report showing Vanessa's sugar syrup sabotage. "She's got nothing," Aisha said, flipping through the folder.
"You've got her dead to rights. Just stay calm and let the truth do the talking."
The HOA meeting was held in a community center, a beige room with folding chairs and a flickering fluorescent light. Vanessa sat at the front, her lawyer, a slick man in a cheap suit, whispering in her ear. Malik sat across from them, his folder on the table, his expression neutral. Harold led the meeting, reading Vanessa's complaint aloud. "Mr. Carter's use of hazardous chemicals and invasive surveillance has made the neighborhood unsafe."
Malik waited his turn, then stood.
"I've got video of Vanessa trespassing on my property at least 8 times, he said, passing out printed stills to the board. "She ignored my verbal warnings, a no trespassing sign, and 2 locked gates. She invited strangers onto my property and tried to sabotage my hot tub with sugar syrup. The dye and scent are non-toxic, approved for pool use.
I've got receipts and lab reports.
I just want to enjoy my home in peace." The room was quiet. Vanessa's lawyer tried to argue that the cameras violated her privacy, but Harold cut him off. She was in his yard, not hers.
No expectation of privacy there. The board deliberated for 10 minutes before ruling in Malik's favor. Vanessa was issued a formal warning: 1 more trespass, and the HOA would support legal action against her. Vanessa left the meeting red-faced, her lawyer trailing behind. Malik felt no triumph, only relief. He'd won this round, but he knew Vanessa's pride wouldn't let her quit. He was right. A new strategy. Back home, Malik and Jamal sat on the patio, a hot tub bubbling softly behind them. "She's not done," Jamal said, cracking open a soda. "She's too stubborn to admit she's wrong." Malik nodded. "I need something that doesn't just stop her, it changes her. Or at least makes her think twice before she tries again." Jamal grinned. "You're going full mastermind now." "All right, let's think big." What's the one thing she cares about more than anything? Her image, Malik said. She wants to be the queen bee, the one everyone looks up to. That sparked an idea.
Malik didn't want to humiliate Vanessa, that wasn't his style, but he could expose her actions in a way that forced her to confront them. He decided to turn his hot tub into a community project, but on his terms. He posted a new notice on the community board: hot tub open house, 1 day only. RSVP required. Respectful guests welcome. The idea was simple: invite the neighborhood to enjoy the hot tub, but with clear rules: no uninvited guests, no trespassing, and a donation to a local charity for each dip. Malik chose a youth mentorship program he'd volunteered with, one that helped kids like he'd been growing up. The event would show Vanessa what real community looked like, while highlighting her selfishness by contrast. He spread the word through Mrs. Rosa and Mr. Patel, who were thrilled. The open house was set for a Saturday, with Malik providing snacks and Aisha handling RSVPs. He also rigged the hot tub with a new feature, a motion-activated voice recording that played a polite but firm message when the jets turned on: "Welcome to Malik's hot tub. Please respect private property. Unauthorized use is recorded." The day of the open house, Willow Creek came alive. Neighbors brought folding chairs, kids ran around the yard, and the hot tub was a hit. Mrs. Rosa soaked her feet, laughing with Mr. Patel about their grandkids. The Garcias donated extra to the charity, thanking Malik for standing up to Vanessa's nonsense. By the end of the day, they'd raised $500 for the mentorship program, and Malik felt a pride deeper than any hot tub could give. Vanessa didn't show up, but Malik knew she was watching. His cameras caught her peeking over the fence, her face a mix of envy and frustration. The voice recording played every time someone new got in, a subtle reminder of the boundaries she'd ignored. Malik didn't need to call her out, the community had done it for him. That evening, as the last guests left, Malik sat in the hot tub alone, the water warm and clear. He'd turned a personal battle into a communal victory, not by fighting dirty, but by building something better. Vanessa's actions had isolated her, while Malik's had brought the neighborhood together. He didn't know if she'd try again, but he was ready: cameras, sprinklers, and a community behind him. The final stand. The open house changed Willow Creek. Neighbors who'd once kept to themselves now waved at Malik as he mowed his lawn. Mrs. Rosa started a weekly coffee meetup, and Mr. Patel organized a neighborhood watch group. Malik's hot tub, once a source of conflict, became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that boundaries could be defended without losing kindness. The youth mentorship program sent him a thank you letter, noting that the $500 donation would fund a month of after-school activities for kids. Malik framed it and hung it in his living room, a quiet badge of victory. Vanessa, however, wasn't ready to let go. A week after the open house, Malik found a new note under his door: "You think you're some hero? This isn't over." It was typed, like before, but the tone felt desperate. Malik didn't respond. He'd learned that silence was his strongest weapon. Instead, he checked his cameras and noticed something odd: Vanessa's backyard lights were on late at night, and shadows moved near the fence. She was planning something. He called Aisha and Jamal for a strategy session. "She's not going to climb the fence again," Aisha said. "She knows you're watching. She'll try something indirect, like messing with the HOA or spreading rumors." Jamal leaned back, grinning. "Let's give her one last chance to trip herself up. Something that exposes her without you lifting a finger." Malik nodded. He'd already turned Vanessa's entitlement into a community lesson, now he wanted to make it impossible for her to rewrite the narrative. He decided to host one more event, a neighborhood unity night with the hot tub as the centerpiece. This time, he invited the HOA board, local police liaison, and even a reporter from the community paper. The goal was to celebrate Willow Creek's newfound unity while subtly showcasing Vanessa's isolation. He posted the event on the community board, with a twist: a live feed from his security cameras would play on a small screen near the hot tub, showing the neighborhood watch in action. The feed would be edited to show only anonymized clips of past trespassing, with a caption: "Respecting boundaries builds community." Malik also added a new feature to the hot tub: a UV-reactive dye that glowed faintly under blacklight, safe and temporary but visually striking. He installed a blacklight near the pergola, ready to activate if needed.
The Unity night was a hit.
Neighbors brought potluck dishes, kids played tag, and the hot tub glowed softly under the evening sky. The reporter, a young woman named Lila, interviewed Malik about the charity donation and the neighborhood's transformation.
"You've turned a personal issue into something positive," she said, scribbling notes. Malik just smiled. "It's about respect. That's all."
As the night wound down, Malik's phone buzzed.
Emotion alert. He glanced at the live feed and saw Vanessa, alone, creeping toward the hot tub.
She carried a small bag, her movements cautious. The crowd was distracted, laughing over dessert, but Malik nodded to Jamal, who flipped on the blacklight.
The tub's water began to glow, a faint neon blue. Vanessa didn't notice at first.
She reached into her bag, pulled out a container, and poured something into the tub, more sugar syrup, Malik guessed. But as she leaned over, her hands dipped into the water, and the UV dye activated, coating her skin in glowing blue streaks. She gasped, dropping the container, which splashed more dye onto her arms. The blacklight made her glow like a neon sign, impossible to miss. The crowd turned, murmurs spreading.
Lila, the reporter, raised her camera.
"What's going on?" she asked.
Malik stepped forward, calm as ever. "Looks like someone's trying to tamper with my property. Again. It's all on camera."
Vanessa froze, her glowing hands trembling. "This is a setup," she shouted, but the crowd wasn't buying it.
Harold from the HOA shook his head, muttering to the police liaison, who was already taking notes.
Lila snapped photos, her pen flying across her notebook. Vanessa fled, her glowing skin trailing through the darkness, a living testament to her own actions.
A lasting legacy.
The next morning, Lila's article hit the community paper's website. Willow Creek man turns trespassing woes into community triumph. It detailed Malik's journey, from defending his hot tub to uniting the neighborhood, with a pointed mention of repeated trespassing incidents caught on camera.
Vanessa wasn't named, but she didn't need to be.
The glowing photos spoke for themselves. Vanessa moved out a month later, her house listed for sale with a motivated seller tag.
Malik didn't celebrate.
He'd never wanted her gone, just for her to respect his boundaries. The neighborhood, though, was different. The coffee meetups continued, the watch group grew, and Malik's hot tub became a symbol of standing firm without losing heart. He kept the tub pristine, soaking in it most evenings, the water a reminder of what he'd earned.
The cameras stayed up, but the alerts grew rare.
The community board now held notices for potlucks, book clubs, and charity drives, a testament to the unity Malik had sparked.
He even started mentoring a few kids from the youth program, teaching them about cars and perseverance. One evening, as Malik relaxed in the tub, Mrs. Rosa stopped by with a plate of cookies. "You did good, Malik," she said.
"Showed us how to stand up without tearing down."
Malik smiled, the jets humming softly. "Just wanted my piece," he said. Turns out, that's what everyone else wanted too.
The hot tub glowed faintly under the stars, a haven reclaimed, a lesson learned, and a community reborn.